Welcome to my Bajerski YouTube channel. Welcome to this chat. It's going to be a little chat about light and dark. I call it yin and yang. Lots of people understand it as yin and yang. So the discussion is what is life? What is it about? Why are we here? The deep questions that is really asked when you are at a place in your life where you feel lost, where you feel like there's no point living, where you feel that everything that you've done up to a certain point is meaningless. I think it can happen to a lot of us, and I'll go back to that point in a bit, but to start off with, I'd like to say that this particular world that we live in, this illusion that we call Earth, and the experience that we experience from day to day, moment to moment, is something that is extremely personal. And those that choose to come to this world come for a number of reasons. Many of us come from different parts of, I believe, the universe, from different spaces in time. It's a difficult one to really truly understand. But there are moments in people's lives that they experience something that cannot be explained, things that they see, and it's very difficult for them to put into the computer brain and kind of, okay, I understand that because of this. But when confronted by circumstances, situations and experiences that have no real go-to in your brain, it becomes quite evident that what we believe is reality isn't reality at all. It's a speck, it's a grain of sand on the beaches of this planet. It's nothing. And most of us live what's called a normal life, meaning we eat, drink, sleep and work, and we don't really see anything other than that. Our biggest experience is normally the taxman knocking at the door, getting parking fines, fighting over whose war and who we should be fighting for and against, everything, the yin and yang basically, light and dark, right and wrong, choosing sides, being this or that. So this is the norm. This is what we call the norm. This is what we believe is life, when in actual fact it's not life at all. And what we realize as we walk this path is that something deep inside us, which is the real you, is screaming out. And because the physical spacesuit that we walk this planet with is so dumbed down by technology, by devious souls in this world who manage to enslave and brainwash in so many ways, that we don't really attune to our higher self. My path really started when I was 38 years old, and when the pupil is ready, the teacher appears. Whatever happened in my life, the sequences to lead me to a magical mountaintop also led many other people to this mountaintop. And those people who just happened to live near me and move in at the same time, and people who just happened to be in a village sat next to me having a coffee, were people who had been through this very, I don't like to use the word awakening, but this very new understanding that the world isn't what we believed it is, and that everything that we have been taught from children up till that moment was a lie. Everything, a complete and utter lie. So what we're being fed from this fake universe, this delusion, this madhouse, this crazy nut house of clown-like jokers in this world, you realize is all an illusion. And the more you start to look into this, the more you start to research it, you realize more and more that the elephant in the room has always been there, but we've never seen it. It's been put there deliberately for certain reasons. My path is kind of different from most, because my path was a path that I was finding myself being led into people's homes where people were going through real strange happenings that is basically taboo. Nobody wants to talk about. The last thing anybody wants to talk about is breaking their beautiful idea of the rose-coloured glass world that, you know, I have money, I go on holiday, I have perfect children, I have a perfect life, and you know, marriage, nice house, and everything's fine. And this is life, where actually you realise that it isn't life. Actually, what that is just a program being put there for people never to actually break free and see what's truly happening in the world, and to really understand why they came here. And I'll give you a for instance about that particular moment. There were times that I was with people who were about to take their last breath and move into the light. And it might be a few days before, or a few hours before, or a few minutes before. And there was a pattern. I saw a pattern. And I don't know whether nurses or doctors or home helpers see this pattern, because when I was with them, I was doing a certain kind of energy work. It's called healing. And it's a certain energy that is given to your client just at the moment that they are ready to accept, let go of everything and move forward, to leave this body and not to be trapped in between two worlds, but to actually go home to their home world. So as I'm giving the healing, there is a conversation between the physical body and the spiritual. And at that moment of some people's enlightenment, who might be 80, 90 years old, they may have gone through a life where they lived a life of working every day because that was what they believed they were meant to do, put food on the table for the children, and that was what they were meant to do, and be, you know, kind and caring because that's what they're meant to do, and then die. Or, of course, pay the taxes. That's ultimately the most important thing, to keep the system going. The system is very important. Without the system, we wouldn't have any of this, and we would be more awakened. So at that moment of moving into the light, there was a pattern, and it was a fascinating thing that I saw in men and women, the feminine and masculine. And what they would do is they would, in certain words, but energy, they would go, oh my God, I didn't realize. And I wondered what that meant. I never asked what they were saying. What do you mean? Because they're about to move into the light. But something happens before the moment they move into the light. And it's like a realization, an awakening of all that is and ever will be and ever was. So it's like, and it doesn't come with negativity. It comes with just a realization. And that realization, I am led to believe, is the fact that what they believe they came into this world to do and experience, in actual fact, they missed out on so much. And they realized how insignificant their life was, in the sense of there was so much more magic in the world, and their power. There's so much power and so much more they could have done to be part of this world and help this world in a way of, let's say, yin and yang. Now, I have my own theory behind this through my clients. And everything that we share in this world, everything that we do in this world, is either one or the other. This is why it's called yin and yang. It's the expression. It's either one way or the other. But when you actually get that penny drop moment, where that resounding clang inside you, when your spirit breaks free and you're about to move into the light, you realize that light and dark are actually both an energy that keeps you from what you're meant to be doing. So I'll give you a for instance. We see things in two ways, whereas this is good, this is bad. So I choose the good and I ignore the bad. However, both sides have an energy that are important, that we both need to understand, we need to experience, we need to digest, we need to look at, and not take sides in the sense of the Buddha sat under a tree. He didn't take religion, he didn't take evil or good, he just experienced his journey like a lot of sages do. And thus when you're in that balanced energy, or let's say when you stand out of this illusion of good and bad, light and dark, you realize that when you're looking at it and you're observing it, you're not pulled into it. And there's a massive energy of heightened awareness when you are not pulled into either or. Because when you stand back and look at life as it is, you realize that we're pulled into so much. It's part of the program. It's part of the system. Vote for this person. Well, if you don't vote for this person, vote for that person. Well, if you vote for that person, that means that you don't believe in that person. There's no in-between. It's deliberate. Everything is deliberate. So when my mentors came to me, I think the first thing they taught me to do is to stop judging. Now, this is definitely part of what I'm talking about, the yin and yang. Because when you stop judging and you stand back and don't let all of these bad things or good things affect you in those ways and just be very balanced about everything, then you end up with an energy which is, and this is where it gets deep, but it's important you know this. There is something very, very powerful about being in between, in the sense of not taking sides, just sitting on the fence and see. My analogy at 38 was, I walk in the middle of the road. I'm very aware of what's happening. I look behind me, I look in front of me to see if there's any cars. But the reason why I'm in the middle of the road is because at both sides of the road, on the curb, both people are speaking. Over that side, people are shouting and screaming, and over that side, people are happy and joyful. But I'm listening to both conversations, which means I'm not missing out on anything. And that was how I used to, share my message with people. Most of us are pulled into something. Most of us are asked to wave a flag for somebody. And anybody who doesn't, then they are either good or bad. That is the biggest trick the devil ever played. It's a trickster's energy. It is the universal energy that tries to suppress and make you do something. Do that. Do this. Create that. Don't create that. Go there. Eat this. Don't eat that. So you realize that there is a few souls in this world who don't buy into this. And I used to talk about this for many, many years. I used to talk about Paul McKenna, and I used to talk about Uri Geller, and all of these people who used to try and brainwash you. And you might laugh, but they do brainwash people, and people can be brainwashed. But what interested me most of all is, why is it that they quietly asked everybody to go down and sit back down into the seats, and only let's say one or two they would ask politely to go and sit down. The rest of them would then run around like chickens, okay? And I was interested in those people who he quietly said, go and sit down and don't say anything. And when I actually started looking into this, I started realizing that the majority of humanity are so easily led into hypnosis. They can be just hypnotized instantly. But there's a few of us who can't, and we don't get hypnotized. And that is what interests me. And I realize that there's something in this. There's a power within certain people. Now, a lot of people say it's because of bullshit. We can smell bullshit a mile. It's all nonsense, and so on. But there's something else. And that's what I looked at 38 years old. Because there is something about the spirit within each person that is unique. But there's also something that is very different with a certain type of spirit within the spacesuit. And those that are the ones that can see through things and know that this isn't right. And they are not manipulated, and they cannot be manipulated. And I realized that very fast when I was doing thousands of healing sessions on people, that the ones who were, let's say, easily influenced, the ones that were about to give all their wealth away to a crazy nutter in America, when they would be in front of me and I would look into their eyes and feel their soul, I realized that they are really easily influenced. And it was quite simple to get them back out of that and snap them out of this world that they were, this illusion that this crazy man had created, and told them that they need to give all their wealth to him, and he would then protect them and look after them, and all of the lies and manipulations. So I saw this time and time again, and I've got a lot of clients who, even to this day, come and hug me and say, if it wasn't for that session with you, I would have given 16 million away to that man and all my wealth would have been gone by now. And I was really happy that people found me to be able to snap them out of this illusion. And yet when I talk about this, people go, oh my God, how can people do that? Do people really buy into that? Well, it's easy. It's easy to fool people. And we look at what's happened from day one of our life. We've been fooled by technology. The TV as a reference point, Barry Trower talks about his work. And his work working in the Air Force, when he worked with Wi-Fi, when he worked with this kind of wave technology that could influence and manipulate people. And that's not hard to grasp, because if you listen to rock music, some people will be very offended and angry, and then start getting bad vibes. And some will jump around and feel joy and happiness with it. So there are certain wave frequencies that can manipulate your every action, every thought. And this has been going on for centuries. And you know, one thing that fascinated me, and it's funny how when you catch these people who do this, and it's normally the ones at the very top, because they're always influencing or trying to manipulate these people who are easily influenced. That's the majority of humanity. And I remember once at a supermarket, and my friend worked there, and I said, this music, what's going on? And he said to me, and this is my honest truth, he said, this is a hypnosis music. And I said, it's weird music. And he said, yeah, how did you know? I said, I don't know, it's weird, and it's not right. And he said, you know what, Mark? He said, I spoke to my boss, and apparently in this music there's also a manipulation of voices that you can't hear, but it's telling you to buy all the time. And I said, Jesus Christ, really? And I'm like, really? I believe it, completely believe it. Makes complete sense. And it suddenly broke out that this was happening. That these disgusting manipulators, and they continue to this day, but they do it through the mobile phones. They do it through the black screen. They manipulate you every day to make you buy into either this or that. They tell you that you need this or you don't need that, or like this person or don't like this person. And I guess where I'm coming to, being a healer for these number of years and working with people, you realize that you don't buy into this. You don't. You are different from many other people because of what you've done and how you've trained and what you've seen and how you see things and what you feel in your clients and how easy it is for your clients to become manipulated, how easy it is to manipulate your clients. And one of the things that I found really important in my path, and I teach this now in the Pure Energy Healing Academy, is how easy it is for anyone to manipulate other people when they know something or they are experienced with something that other people are not. Which means that you have a responsibility. So whether you're a teacher, whether you're a priest, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a gynecologist, it doesn't matter, a healer, whatever you are, you have a responsibility, because you know that what you have not only experienced, but the knowledge and the wisdom that you hold is something that you want to be able to share with your client in a way that will make them feel happier and stronger and help them become and overcome certain experiences and physical issues. So when I ended my healing session after 1 hour, or maybe it was 1 hour and a half, they would get up and I would give them a hug and I would tell them, well done. That was, you did an amazing job. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to help you, but thank you for embracing it and working with it. And I give them a cuddle and said, now get out there and hold on to this energy. It's your energy and you hold on and don't let nobody take it away. 90% of people would lose that energy because of the manipulation of outside, manipulation of people, especially partners who can't stand it when their partner's happy. Or they feel, because when they're happy, they're strong. When they're strong, then there's no, the partner has no control over them. But these are the things. Or when you feeling great and you want to share your truth, you're stopped by outside forces. And there are forces of light and dark. And there are people in this world who try their best to share truth. Truth is neither light or dark. Truth is just what it is. It sits on its own. It has its own power. It has its own strength. And there are entities in this world. There are people in this world who are influenced. There are people in this world who are just dark in many different ways. And through personal trauma, through their need of power or I don't know, there's so many reasons why they have this urge to try and suppress and mock and belittle truth. And thus the world has got to a point where it doesn't really want to know truth, because coupled with truth is something that is very challenging for them. Because when you know truth and you really feel it, it means that you're going to have to change. And 9 times out of 10, nobody likes change because they fear change, because change is the future they cannot see. So they would rather sit in blindness and in darkness, because it's easier than having to stand up and say, okay, it's not what I thought it was out there. Maybe I need to change my life. But with that comes a new responsibility. And that responsibility has never been given to you ever before. Because what the system has done is try to make you believe that the system takes your responsibility. Unless, of course, you do something really bad and then the system says that's your fault. But then the system always asks you to believe in them and listen to them and buy what they want you to and believe what they want you to believe. And yet, it always gets put back onto you if you've done something wrong. So it's very clever how it works. The system is a very clever system. Somebody once asked me, what is the system? And I said to them, well, it's not a man in a suit, is it? So the system isn't a man in a suit. No, it's not. The system isn't a big building, is it? No, it's not. So the system is a fictitious energy. And that fictitious energy is a manipulating energy. That's all it is. It's an energy that manipulates. So those in suits work with that manipulating energy. The buildings hold the manipulating energy for you to believe it's some powerful entity, but it's not. It's not the building, it's not the people. It's an entity, it's an energy, it's invisible. However, when you believe in it, then you create it, and that's why this system continues. So it's fascinating when you start to look into light and dark. It's fascinating when you start to understand what the spirit worlds are. It's fascinating to understand how these entities can come in and out, flash and come back and forth and disappear from this realm and move into another. Why is it that ghosts can appear and disappear? Fascinating subjects, all connected. Why is it that there's darkness and demons and attachments and different types of entities, and there's lizards and there's this happening. Lots of things always around us. But most people don't see and understand it. And thus, if they don't see it and don't understand it, then how can they possibly say it exists? Which is true. Absolutely. But being out of this idea of being in good and bad, evil and light and dark, when you just observe it and say, look, it is what it is, I'm not sure, but I'll just stay on the fence and observe and watch. I won't judge. I've been teaching this kind of work for years because I realize that the best form of life and balance is by standing back and not buying into everything that is being thrown at you. So life is fascinating, and there are so many shades of grey that it's unreal. A lot of people have talked to me about ayahuasca and all the other enhancements of drugs, plants, and lots of these things that they smoke. And they've often asked me, why don't you talk about it? And, why don't you do it and then tell us your experience? It's been a number of years now that I've worked with shamans, about 7-8 years now, but I worked with shamans for quite a lot. Some of the best shamans I worked with who were fascinating. And yet when I realized that when I worked with them, they were only human, and what they were doing and how they would use their herbs and their plants was something that for me personally, I didn't need. There wasn't a need for it. And a lot of people who take these enhancements, these things, always used to do it for certain reasons. So it wasn't like, okay, I'll just do it out of because it feels right, like going for a walk. There was always something that it always felt like they were lost and they were trying to find themselves. I don't believe taking these kind of things are good if you're not in the right frame of mind, body and spirit. Therefore, I've never been in that right place because every day I work on myself and I have my own demons, in the sense that we all have this little demon in our mind that tries to tell us, and we try to fight back and say, stop it. And then the demon says, no, I'm not going nowhere. I love being with you because you fuel everything that I love being in here. And you're like, oh my God, just go away. Because these are the voices, these are the tricksters, this is the energy that is always being bombarded to us all the time. But we have a choice between two energies. And those two energies, we can go for the light or we can go for the dark. But what I've tried to do is go for neither of them and just stayed central and just observed everything. This is what I'm trying to say. I think for me, the best part is not to be involved in any of it and try to build your own truth. Try to build your own experience. Try to look after yourself. Try to heal yourself. Try to meditate and not look for a God or the answer to life, but just to try and observe like the Buddha did. And by observing, you learn so much. It's incredible. It's incredible. When your eyes are closed, you see so much more. We don't close our eyes enough. And when we do, it's because we're resting the body. And that's really when our spirit really works. But when we're awake, why don't we close our eyes when we're awake and we see? Because there's so much to see. There's so much more to attune to. If I had 10 years here, sat here, and you asked me about certain subjects on the spiritual nature, I could sit here and give you true story after true story about nearly everything. I've seen so much and heard so much. I felt so much. So it's like there's so much out there. However, if you were to ask me what do I know, I would say I know nothing. Because when you, at one point of my meditation, and I think I was meditating maybe three hours a day, and I was giving healing sessions up until 10 o'clock at night. I was doing healing and I was also doing the spiritual work. Never using anything other than herbs to cleanse myself, sage and Palo Santo, and using some natural oils. There have been 3 or 4 occasions that I attuned to a certain frequency, and that was done on a natural way. And that frequency I can only describe, and I have talked to you about it before, was when my whole body went into a kind of shock energy, and it was vibrating and I was shaking. And the only way I could describe it is, and I'm not going to describe it this way because kids might be listening, but when you do something with your partner and all of a sudden something happens and you have this overall body feeling of like, it's just an incredible feeling all over the body, times that by 100. But at the same moment, something opens up, and whether it's your third eye, whatever it is, something opens up. All your PowerPoints open up and you get a download of information in a way that you could write about. So I've talked to you about colours. When you hit a point of which the Buddha called nirvana, this is the highest frequency. I don't know. I just call it a state of being. It's incredible. It's like there are no words. You can't write down the colours. You can't write down the shapes. You can't write down what you see in that world. But what I noticed is that my meditation at that point is completely different from what other people saw when they took ayahuasca or all of the other drugs. Okay, totally different. And there's something in that, and I talked about this on many videos. That's why I don't do them, because I don't want to be in that frequency, because that frequency is not a balanced natural frequency. It's not a state of being. It's a completely different state of being, and it's a different frequency. It's a different energy, and it opens up things that for me are slightly darker and slightly more manipulating. It's almost like when you're at a really bad point in your life, really bad, and something bad happens, you start to hear voices or you start to feel things, and then sometimes you can get entities that attach to you, spirit trapped in between two worlds, because you're at a really weird frequency. Whereas if you're at a happy, strong, powerful frequency, you can still get to those beautiful moments of let's say, downloads. Like you could be walking in, I don't know, Machu Picchu, and all of a sudden you'll get a download, or you can get a download anywhere and feel this download, and the information that then sits in you and then slowly comes out month after month, year after year. So it's different from that world of drugs, completely different. And that's why I say with drugs, whether it's legal drugs or illegal drugs, they take you to a different frequency. So your spacesuit, which vibrates at like an antenna of, let's say, if it's 12 points of waves, you vibrate at round about 6. If you take these kind of drugs, then all of a sudden you'll move from 12 to 13, or let's say you go down the opposite, you go to 0, and then you go to -1, -2, and now you're vibrating at a completely different frequency. That brings in what I believe low and very manipulating energies, whether it's from whatever worlds, or whatever worlds are within worlds. So it opens portals to places that I am not interested in, because there's nothing positive there, in my opinion. There's nothing that I've ever heard that my clients have ever said that all they've received is kind of like, yeah, I saw it. Well, what are you going to do with that? What happens now? I've never really had a great outcome with that. However, people who meditate and who continually health-wise look after themselves and do things where it's natural, they can get downloads when they're in the alpha mode, where they're driving a car, and get downloads more often, more frequently. They can get like amazing channeling of what I believe is pure love, pure healing, pure intention, and that what makes us stronger, and being able to help people more and more, and become we send an energy that helps the world and helps others around us, which is very powerful. All of these things have been suppressed and been told that we're crazy and we're nuts, where really the darkness knows exactly how to stop people like you and I who are trying to share truth and love. And this is how it works, and I just wanted to share this with you as a conversation today, that there's so many things happening right now. And I think if you were to ask me, instead of choosing sides, instead of the right and wrong, light and dark, why not be balanced and just observe today and just work on yourself? And whenever possible, close your eyes and just breathe and be at peace, and try and feel. Try your best every day to feel more and more. Give yourself longer. Give yourself a bit more time. Because when you're at peace with yourself, you're in harmony. You're in balance. And that's what I work on every day. And some days we can't, because we've got things to do. We're busy. But if you can, as much as you can, I encourage you to meditate. These are the things that are so important right now. In a world of madness, give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this little conversation. It's called Food for Thought. And I hope to do a few more of these talks with you in the future. If at any point you've really felt that this sounds like truth, if at any point you think I really enjoy this, I enjoy what Mark's saying, it's making sense, I'd love to learn more about this, I created 8 courses, and these 8 courses are filled with how many hours? I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about, I don't know, they're 4-day courses, and they're hours and hours, okay, of what I share to become the higher you on a natural path. So this isn't about taking anything, it's not about, anything crazy, it's just about everything that I've learned from 38 years old till now. And I put it together in 2 courses. So the first course is called Pure Energy Healing. It's not all about healing others. It's about learning how to understand yourself. It's about learning how to understand energy, how it moves, how it changes, how it shifts. Feel it. Is it right? Should I go near it? What should I do with it? You learn all about that and how your power, how you can grow in power, and how you can become the most amazing healer that you already are. And that's 1 course. So you learn so much in these 4 days, but you've got to take 4 days off to do it. It's online and it's interactive with me. So on a night, we come together and we talk. So there's a group of us who talk and we share our experience and what we've done. So that's 4 days. That's called the Pure Energy Healing course. That's online on the PureEnergyHealingAcademy.com. And that's in April, so that's in a few weeks. And then the next course right after it, I only have 2 courses. The next course right after it is called the Pure Energy Healing Crystal course. Now, I work with crystals from 38 years old till this moment in time. I've worked with crystals. Crystals hold an amazing frequency that people don't talk about. They think it's crazy, but it's not. Crystals are absolutely incredible and they have frequency. Crystals are in watches, fobs, they're in computers, they're used for things that you have no idea about. And like you look into the aspects of these huge corporations that are very quiet, DARPA, HARP, CERN, they all use them, they all know. So I work with crystals to be able to understand what they do, how they work, how they can help us along our journey, how they can change and heal us, and how their frequency, just like bad frequency of Wi-Fi and all of that what's out there, this is good frequency, this is good energy. Not only protective energy, but actually energy that clears away and actually strengthens the whole of the body system, mind, body and spirit. It's incredible. So you get to learn how to use crystals, how to work with them in the process of healing at the same time as learning pure energy healing. So these 2 courses are absolutely amazing. So it starts in April, and then we've got a course 2 weeks after, and then there's a break, and then 2 months after that there's another course, and then 2 months after that another course, and another course, another 2 courses. So there's 8 courses altogether. That's it. That's all we have for this year, but I think that's a lot. So you might want to join us, and if you do, I'll put the link below. And yeah, we had somebody from Croatia yesterday sign up, and the day before I think was Italy, and I think 3 more people, but I can't remember where they're from. So it's not a big group. It's going to be a small group each time we do it, and we're going to learn, and we're going to share, and we're going to interact at the end of the night. And you might enjoy it. So nip over to the PureEnergyHealingAcademy.com and have a look and see if it feels right. Because like me at 38 years old, I needed guidance. I needed somebody to tell me what was happening and what, is this real? How do I do it? How can I do it? And what happens? And that is exactly what the course gives you. It gives you the encouragement. It gives you ideas. It helps you to express and expand yourself in many ways, not just to become a healer, but to become the most powerful healer that you already are. And in that energy creates a magnificent power of protection, awakening, and your life does change, and you see differently through your eyes. You feel differently through the spirit that then becomes stronger than the mind, and so on. So have a great day, guys. Love you all. Thank you so much. Take care.